from under the totem pole. Bringing it to you live. Yeah, we coming to you live.
Word up.
Yo, this is Big Tux.
It's your man Jali.
And we're in the building today. We got an open mic for y'all. So that means we just gonna cover a few topics real quick just to get in and get at you real quick. But welcome to From Under the Totem Pole Radio, where you have to understand your totem pole if you want to survive. But really, the purpose of the show is to tell people how racism works, and it's a very simple, to me, topic to understand, but people have a lot of difficulty with it, understanding it. And a lot of people, for some strange reason, act like they don't know if they're practicing racism or not. And racism is prejudice plus power. We already went over that. And then there's other things that aligns other people, that aligns races together, is these statements. And if you are really truly trying to be an ally, you don't say things like this. You take this out of your mindset, take this out of your vocab to tell a black person. And then some of them are like, you're racist. To me, I got a list. You're racist if you say pull yourself up by your bootstraps. If you say forget about it. If you just go with the flow. If you're against affirmative action for blacks, if you believe in stereotypes, if you're anti-reparations for blacks, for ADOS, American descendants of slavery, you are racist. And that's how it works. That's what connects people. There's a whole list of other things that we talked about earlier, Jolly, that I even forgot about.
Yeah, definitely. The meeting you told me about where they didn't even invite Dr. Claude Anderson. You know what I'm saying? That alone.
We're gonna get on that in a little bit. Yeah,
okay.
We're gonna get on that. We're gonna get on that whole thing about the reparations hearing. We're gonna get on that. Mm-hmm. But I also want to touch on a little bit is what I'm noticing is in social media there is an increase of anti-black blacks. Now, Jolly, we don't even need to call out what groups some of these people come from, because there's several different groups, so we don't even need to name these other groups that they are a part of, right? And these are people who only like to be black when it's convenient
for them.
As soon as a white person drops the N-bomb and calls them a nigga in the street,
they offended. They
are offended.
But then when it's convenient for them to not be black,
it's all good.
Yeah, and that kills the whole movement.
If they find out it's a sale on fried chicken, they'll be ready to run over 5 black babies
and be first in line.
Also, so I just want to just let y'all know that a lot of people are aware of that. A lot of black people are aware of that. That there is an increase of anti-blackness going on. Like, you have people using the term conscious as in a negative way in the black community.
Yeah, and that's dangerous.
These are the very same people who say that they don't want to hear any positivity in their music.
Right.
There's a reason why it's like that too, and there's a reason why, and being in this system will turn you into that. You lose a lot of associates for being pro-black, real black, and it's amazing that people get angry. I knew white folks that would ask me how do I feel to be black, and then when I tell them the answer, get upset, right? And not just even get upset at me. Like I'm the problem because I'm telling you about my experience.
Because you answered the question.
Because I answered the question. You gotta be careful with that. You gotta be careful with that because there's only one way for me to look at that. Why are you trying to argue with me and my experience or trying to one up my experience? Why? Like you are no longer in the place of being an associate or a friend at that point, because you are trying to question my experience. I never did that to you. So you know, if you're a friend, you fight for your friends' equal treatment. Just like in the environmental issues, the animal rights issues, they can't talk. Those dogs and cats can't talk. Those whales and polar bears can't talk.
Yeah, that's true.
But you sitting here acting like you don't know how to help a person that speaks your same language. You know, think about that. You know, and really think hard, because cut the shit. You got to. You got to cut the shit. We got to be real, because that's the biggest problem in the world and in this country, in America, is people lie too much and get comfortable inside of their lies.
Tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth.
Like, the main reason why I did the show on racism and can black people be racist is because a lot of black people were brainwashed to believe that they actually could, because they believed the lie that they actually were equal, but we know that they're not, and they know it. So who's lying?
They show it to you. What was the TV shows we were talking about? Remember When They See Us?
Oh man!
You know, and I lived that. I couldn't watch it just to know what was done.
Yeah, I watched the first episode.
I watched the first episode and I couldn't finish it, man. I stopped watching because what was done was just it's atrocity. And to think that, what have we not seen? What are the When They See Us that we haven't seen? You know, and what still goes on. It's not like they showed us this movie and said, okay, now things are different. Those people became higher in their careers from that.
Man, it's like we also let's go back to the reparations here. What I got on that is that not one good representation of the true black thought. And what I mean by that is that you have a grassroots news movement online, and if you are anywhere on some free conscious thought for black people, you were running into any one of these cats. I gave a list of them on the news episode, the last one. But most, and we know, what we found out, we already knew at the reparations hearing. You had a lot of coons out there arguing both different sides of the argument. That which is really ridiculous as a human being to watch that, to see both sides of the argument being represented by white supremacy and or out of fear of saying what's true. And so it's Danny Glover got on there and bumbled and stumbled and fumbled like we knew. He's telling his sound like an old slave. And he's arguing for reparations, but he didn't even say anything. You know, you had all these cats going up there and not even mentioning white supremacy. It took, I forgot what the white guy's name was. He was the first one to mention white supremacy. The other black guys didn't, you know. And here's how I feel. What we found out is what we already knew. Most non-black people agree collectively on not giving black people reparations, simply because of the lie that everything is equal. Plausible deniability is in full effect. Understand
Plausible deniability.
Understand it. It's the reason why. Why are you against black people getting their just due and you're not even involved? And why are there so many people asking, where's the money coming from? Well, where's the money coming from that's giving these other groups reparations? Coming from that same pot. That's where it's coming from. You see? But it's plausible deniability though. So that's why there's so many people saying the same exact thing, right? See, that's what you always got to realize. There's so many people saying the same thing, you gotta question it now. If it's not helping anything or telling the truth, you gotta question it. You got to. Unapologetically white versus unapologetically black. See, one is cheered and the other one is jeered. One is feared, the other one is loved. You know, black heroes are soft. and apologetic and handpicked by white supremacists, from King all up to Obama. All of the white heroes are strong like in the movies. And they're portrayed that way in the news. Understand that. There's a program going on. That's why they call it TV programming. Because they're programming your mind. But see, you just thought it was your mind. They were programming your soul too.
Yep.
Black people help the system a lot by saying things like stop making the world about race while sidestepping the truth. I've been told this a few times from some black people. This type of denial will eventually end black people. Because evil only benefits from those thoughts. Black turncoats never get punished for preying on black people. It's encouraged. So think about that. Like, when you start to think like them and be like them, it's ultimately what I call it. It's like the sunken place. Not everybody. No, like if you looked at the movie Get Out, nobody made it out the sunken place. Like death was the only way to get out of the sunken place. So you have to be careful about what you believe and what the mainstream believes. But we have is a sentiment as a lot of black people that just don't want to be honest about race. It's a couple of things. It's either they want to cling to the money and think that it's a money thing, because we do kind of live in a capitalist society. But what makes it not a capitalist fully is when they're so racially biased against black people. When they hold black people, we can't play. Like I hear silly people say it's chess, but it's not chess. Because chess, each side has equal amount of pieces, and it's a fair playing field. See, what we're talking about is not chess. When somebody can just knock your pieces on the floor, it's not chess. You see? But a lot of people, they have it wrong, and that's okay. But you can't have it wrong for so long though, because we're talking about is serious. Because right now, you've got the deputizing of white citizens.
They also have it so wrong that they don't even see that by them having it so wrong, they helping keeping the system that way.
Yes. But they're deputizing white citizens, and this is something that you can just Google it.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of citizens, non-cops, that are killing a lot of unarmed black people. And you can find this information, this data is out there. You can look it up. It's something that started back in slavery. You see? Because some people would be like, oh yeah, not everybody owned slaves back then in America. Some people was poor. Well, what the hell you think they did to get money? They were slave catchers. You see? So, and they didn't have to be deputized. They deputized themselves. Because that's the luxury in this color-based society, is that the dominant society can deputize itself whenever it sees fit. You see? And a lot of the times they get away with it. It's rare that people get caught and then get prosecuted. It's very rare. And then we were talking about the Central Park 5 earlier.
Oh, man.
It's like, I told myself, I'll never see another or watch another slave movie ever again.
What about 7 Seconds? That was the same thing. Here it is. They murdered the young brother, and then it was witnessed by the little white girl, and they murdered her too. And nobody went to jail. And that was the end of the season. It was like, okay, why would I want to watch season 2 of this?
Because this is the biggest
That's
trick.
Crazy.
This is why they have people watching things like The Purge.
Oh, man.
Where I started picking
movie?
it up. Yeah, the movies. There's 5 movies.
It's
and
5 of them?
And I picked up early on like in part 1. They're like, oh, this seems like this is about race. To where you see in the last movie, they reveal to you that it is about race. Where they try to say little slick things like low income, but it was a lot of black people being murdered. More so than even brown. Like, so it was to me, you know, and to me, that's what tells me what you're trying to get black people on. It is that fear. You got slave movies. You got these movies like these movies like Fruitvale Station, right? These tear jerking like things, and the sad thing is that these things still happen daily, right? These things happen daily, and it's like shows and movies that get away with slavery and murder. That's all they want to show. And black folks have been saying this all along. You know, enough with the slave movies. Even people that's half asleep is like, okay, enough with it. But this is a ploy with all of these shows and movies aimed at black people is to keep black people asleep. Understand that. And I know a lot of people want to say that, hey, all the bad thing that happens, it happens to everybody. Everybody. See, they doing it to everybody. But just like Meek Mill says, there's levels to this shit. So understand that and peep that. You know, peep that you can do this and that no black person can do that. You have to understand it. If you're intelligent, you can know this, but it has to take a certain level of intelligence enough to dig, to seek the truth, you know, and you will find. But it's up to you. But you can, in the meantime, it seems like I'm going to hear a lot of plausible deniability, you know, because that's so popular nowadays. You got trolling and all this stuff going on at an all-time high on social media when people don't even know that trolling, you know, the KKK was started with trolling. So all this online trolling and all these things that happens when, and it's crazy that it only happens to like a lot of black, I see it when it's happening to a lot of black people that's really just trying to push positivity, and they got to deal with that, you know. But you know, I'm a person that I love all races of people, but only the good ones. Remember that. You can't make me like somebody I don't want to like because they're bad. And if you're a good person, I'm rocking with you. Understand that. If you're a good person through and through, I'm rocking with you. But you can't make me rock with somebody that I don't want to rock with. So understand that. Man, because it's nice and comfy on the bottom of this totem pole.
Word up.
You know. But if we want things to change as a people, and this is all people, if y'all want to see things change, you pull that person up from the bottom and help them get to the top, and so on and so on. But that's just all I wanted to say. I just wanted to hit Cash real quick. I don't even know how long this is. You know, we talked just for a minute.
That's all a little,
you know,
like you said, a little conversation.
You know, that's it. Just a little open mic real quick, you know, to get to these things. We're going to have some updates. We may cover some news stories. Depends on what happens in the world. But yeah, we'll get back to you. Peace.
Peace.
From under the totem pole, bringing it to you live.